Hi, everyone. I understand listening to me. Okay, so my name is Anna, and on behalf of the entire team of Proyector, I welcome you to the 13th edition of the festival. This is one of the events of the festival, which is focused on video art and the Middle East, entitled Political Amplifier, Listening to the Middle East. We're gonna have, last year and years before, we have been trying to make, establish a bridge with other regions and other countries and understand how video art and art practices in the wider sense, develop and are being produced. And this year we decided to invite, different curators and institutions to tell us a bit about what is going on in their countries and in their region. And so we have this. We're going to have right now one from 12 to 2 p.m. And then at 5, we have another sort of like the second session of this this encounter. So I'm going to leave you. It's someone.
No hay necesariamente nada malo en ello.
Yo voy a seguir esto un poco.
Yeah. Okay, sorry guys. Very sorry. So I'm gonna leave you with Olga Blázquez. She's gonna be the moderator and she's gonna introduce everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So hi, well, first of all, I would like to say thank you for being here or not being here or being in front of your screens. And as Ariana has said, this session is entitled Political Amplifier, Listening to the Middle East. And we are approaching video art, of course, from different perspectives. This means that we do not deny the intersections between video art and other, maybe, let's say, artistic practices, such as filmmaking or acting or whatever, and also different realities, such as society, politics, the art market, and so on. Also, this multiplicity of perspectives means that the different speakers today come from different fields. We have Ulya Soley, we have Shaghayegh Norouzi, and Fatma Çolakoğlu, coming from Turkey and Iran, and also Reem Shadid from Palestine. She's not joining us, but yeah, I encourage you to look at her work also. So they inhabit different fields such as acting, researching, curatorship, video art, filmmaking, among others. And the objective maybe of this table is to come from these different perspectives in order to arrive at a common land, at a common debate. Also, I want to highlight the relevance of this table, especially now when screens and video live has become so important in order to be close to each other. It implies. And also I wanted to put one question on the table. It's not mandatory for the speakers or the listeners to answer it, but maybe it's important in order to keep it in mind during the day. And the question is, can we consider video art more specifically as one of the cracks through which we can breathe today? And well, I also remind you that I'm the Polish woman that says until here. Okay, and that this speaker has around 15, 20 minutes to develop her topic. Okay, we start with Shaghayegh Norouzi, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Me too. Firstly, I want to thank you for all the good job that you did, your team, and especially this independent sense that have your festival. That's very important for me, and I think for the artists of my country. So me following the subject of the table and the conversation, I want to speak about, in general, audiovisual in Iran. And for speaking about this, immediately I have to go to the politic points and explain that, okay, from which base we are speaking about artwork inside my country. So clearly, I think you know it, we are in a dictatorial structure of politics in my country. So what's the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that all the artwork, especially audiovisual works, that is cinema, video art, everything that is like this, that is super powerful in my mind and can go out of the borders, take a lot of attention, they pass from a very strong filter. And inside my country as well, following that it's a rich country, Iran, unfortunately, all the budget that they put on cinema and audiovisual, they go for a kind of propaganda and manipulating products. So what's the problem of this? The problem of this is that the main problem of this is that the real art, that it should be free, independent, and because of this, following this, it can have the real voice of the people. It disappear, shut down, and honestly, for real, you out of the geographic border, you don't. I think with my experience out of Iran and inside Iran, I can very clear tell you, you don't have so much real touch of what is the real art and what really the free artists are doing inside my country. Another thing that I want to say, and after go to the subject that what our artists for real need and why is that much important, something like video projector for us, this kind of gathering, this kind of festival. I want to just mention this as well, that in all the international festivals, especially the big ones, like Cannes festivals and the others, for real, what you are watching, it's something that as well pass from a very strong filter. And that is something that I think one day we have to ask the festival, why is like this? And in general, we have to speak about it. They put an Iran part in their festivals, and they go directly and ask the main heart and main part of the government, the art institute of the government inside Iran, that, okay, send us some videos, send us some movies. So what they will send for you, for sure they will send something that even that you think, it's have a little bit touch of critical, but it's not the real one that for real the other people in the world, they should see it and they should hear it. And this subject is not just about the big festivals, even the other festivals. For example, I had experience in some festivals here, even in Spain, in Barcelona, that, okay, they are not super big festivals with super complicated politic deals, but even them as well, I want to say that I don't see so many sensibility or responsibility to what they collect. I mean, this subject that when you are collecting something from a country, how you can completely disappear the politic that is behind, the background of politics, and don't see this part and don't take care about it and choose just some artworks and don't think about that, okay, in this among of censorship over this kind of countries, okay, what is coming out now? And we have to be a little bit more responsible that what we are. For example, in one of these festivals, just I want to finish this subject here. I went directly speaking with the manager of the festival. I told him that this guy that you bring him from Iran and he is as a curator and he collects the artwork and the videos. He is from the government. He is the main person that oppresses us inside as artists. And how is that important for you, this? And he worked with the main artistic company inside my country, art company inside my country, that they put the politics of censorship. And just he told me that that's not very important for us, and it's real. And the most important is that just he arrived on time on the lunch table. I think it will be changed. It have to be changed. And little by little, with the work that you do as a free and independent team, little by little, this will be changed. Your work, it's very important because you put a small opportunity for becoming here the real voice of the artist inside you, and that they are under a very strong censorship. Okay, following all these things that I told you, I think you can analyze that, okay, how this work, for example, that you watch in your festival, or the work in this kind of lines, how they become product, with a lot of problems, because each video or movie that we want to make inside our country, we need a signature of the government, a permit that they leave us, okay, you can shoot it. It's not like this. For example, here in Europe, I had experience of shooting. We go in the street and, okay, in special places we need permit, but in general, you don't need a very big permit about the subject that you are working on. We need permit inside our country. So imagine that all these artists, which steps they pass for making their artwork, and for sure with their own budget. Because one of the main problems in this structure is that so it's not any budget for real art or free work, free artwork. It's not any budget for this. So that is another good point of your festival. For me, it was very valuable that, okay, you show the result of a work that it was with their own budget, with passing all these filters, all these problems. And yes, you show the final result. And at the end, just I want to finish my part with this, that in all this situation that I explained for you, women have a special situation, double problems. And it's clear, yes, because the oppress is over them more heavy. And they are already, they put them already far from a lot of fields, especially like filmmaking as a director or this kind of, I mean, it's not very interesting for the system of Iran that, okay, a woman be a filmmaker and actually independent free filmmaker. So I want to just mention, not just as a woman, as an artist for you, that the artwork of the women in my country is super valuable because they are the ones that had the most deeply experience of oppressing, and I saw them more responsible and more sensitive about the situation of the country, the situation of the people, the freedom, and they do less deals with the government. They keep their free thoughts. Is very important for them, and as well, it's very clear because at the same time they are fighting for their own rights, for the equality at the same time, and all these subjects is more deep and more important for them. So yes, I don't know how long more I have time, but I think I told the main parts that I want to explain for you.
Okay, that's nice. You have maybe 5 more minutes if you want to develop else, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to just close it, and I'm very happy if someone have some question about it. Yes, it was the reason that I collect 4 female artists for you. Actually, it was this because for real, as well on the intellect part of my country, that when you speak with them about dictatorial censorship, they have a lot of idea about freedom. But even on that part in my country, they don't have a very they don't put so much space for the women. So women, they are totally alone fighting inside my country. They don't have the support of the government. They don't have the support of the men intellect in my country. They are fighting alone. And actually, in these days, I always say that if a revolution happened again in my country, it's a women revolution. In this moment, I saw them very clear in their idea. And I really like to know your idea about their artwork, but weak or strong. When you're speaking about the quality of their artwork, the main important and valuable is that what is the background of what they are making and what they are trying to put inside this artwork, and what is their goal that they're trying for what. Just this.
Okay, so I have written some questions and I think there are going to be more, but maybe we are doing them until the end. Okay.
It can be good, yeah.
Okay, nice. So next speaker is Ulya Soley, and thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, Shaya. It was a nice way to begin the talk. And I think we share some problems as well. So we can maybe go back to that after the talks.
Sure.
And thank you, Olga, for the introduction. And I would also like to thank Ariana and Mario for inviting us to curate a program of video art from Turkey. My name is Ulya. I work at Pera Museum in Istanbul, and I also do some independent work as a curator and writer. We used to be colleagues with Fatma at Pera Museum, where we curated exhibitions together, mostly focusing on moving image. Today, we are very happy to be here with this thought-provoking program, Festival of Video Art, with this program with which we work together and titled Debris, which is mainly about the urban transformation. First of all, I'd like to stress that the situation that we're all going through, the corona pandemic, changed our ways of thinking about art immensely. Of course, as an art professional, our lives revolve around art, looking at it, watching it, reading about it, writing about it, or speaking about it, and so on. But after we had to stay indoors, I believe the way we experience art changed drastically. What Benjamin called the aura of the artwork was suddenly absent, and we were left with our thoughts on art as well as the digital impressions or reproductions of the works. Suddenly, the show that you could never go because you were too busy was online, or the video program that was supposed to be shown in, for example, London was now being shown online, and you no more had any excuse not to watch it or to wish that you were living in a more metropolitan area. In some ways, we could say it brought different classes together because it provided us somehow equal amount of cultural opportunities to the online community. And of course, it should also be remembered that most people either working in finance or working at a factory had to work more hours as we were trying to adjust to the new way of things. As it was wished in the title of the last Venice Biennial as well, May We Live in Interesting Times, we're definitely living in interesting times, and it is thought-provoking to think about what interesting entails here. It is somehow more connected, but less social. And in my opinion, this was the most interesting element of this period. And when Fatma and I were invited to curate this program of video art from Turkey for the PROYECTOR festival, we were doubtful whether the festival was even going to happen. We weren't able to foresee the future at all. And back then, we were already quarantined in our apartments. And our discussions on how to talk about video art from Turkey focused on what would make sense in this context to talk about. I should maybe specify here that we both live in Istanbul, and most artists in the selection are Istanbul-based artists. And I personally don't think that Istanbul is representative of Turkey at all, and that it might be a little bit problematic to see this selection as a representative of any geographical area in that sense. However, there was a common feeling which we wanted to focus on, and that feeling was related to the memories associated with the urban fabric. Since we haven't been able to experience a lively urban living in the past month, I guess our vivid memories from the good old days got mixed up with the fact that the city was changing rapidly and we weren't able to keep up with the places that were opening and the memorable iconic places closing down, changing the whole feeling and fabric of the city. In Istanbul, it can be quite frustrating to walk past a shop, see that it is empty, and learn that a cafe that used to be there is now closed. Of course, the oppressive government also played a huge role in transforming the city without respecting its needs and without providing the protection that it needs. The architectural decisions also affected the daily life, the cultural life, and the once vivid nightlife as well. Huge roads and huge mosques being built all around, it is sometimes sad to look across the Bosphorus and imagine the beginning of the 20th century when there was a much green panorama. Thus, we wanted to gather together artists who also dealt with this transformation in their works. For example, in her work, The Gate, Serra Tansel presents a video performance shot in her own neighborhood, which is a response to the Ottoman-era style public sculpture in front of the municipality building. The sculpture is placed at a very random angle and guides visitors through the staircase that goes nowhere. The direction shows either the wall of the building or the main road, which is quite absurd. Her video comments on the general randomness of the architectural planning of the city and how unplanned the city planning actually is. Another artist in our selection, Kadir Kayserilioğlu, also reminds us a tragic event that happened a couple of years ago in Istanbul in his work Dreams of Wild Boars. In the past few years, forests have been destroyed as part of Istanbul's gentrification, and wild boars have lost their natural habitats and have crossed the Bosphorus by swimming, and they came too close to the city center. So they caused panic and scared the people away. This bizarre wildlife instant emerged into modern life, and it sort of blurred the borders between the others and us. And the construction industry became a potent language of the non-progressive and the irrational. This happened when the third bridge was being built across Bosphorus. This bridge is already up now, and it carried the fringes of the city even further. And apart from the urban transformation, I think it is also essential to talk about the cultural transformation, which is polarizing people who have different political beliefs. And unfortunately, when I say political, I mean religious as well. This is one of the main problems associated with politics and its relation to art production. The local contemporary art production is produced by a small number of people who truly believe in arts and its value, independent from any financial value, because obviously no one becomes an artist to make money. And then it is only consumed by a very small number of people. And this creates a bubble of people who are politically on the same page, who think the same, who hang out at the same places, and who believe in a similar set of values. Then there is this question of for whom the art is made for and why, and what kind of a support mechanism there is. And because it's a polarized phenomenon, another issue that rises is censorship, as Shaya also mentioned in her talk, mostly in the form of self-censorship in Turkey as well. The community and the general public values are not very similar to art circles' own values. And because there is an oppressive government that is trying hard to have control over social media and digital platforms as well, the artists, filmmakers, writers, and curators feel the need to self-censor, and the institutions also play it safer than before. And this creates an artistic production that is very much in line with Instagram's community guidelines. And it takes away the possibility of art being that crack that we can breathe through a little bit. But despite all, it is very exciting to be part of art production and to work with artists who are putting in a huge effort to fight the established structures and improve the system and open those small holes which become our breathing cracks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I'm writing some words that have appeared in both discourses, and also I'm gathering some topics. So maybe at the end also we can talk about them. So it's time now to Fatma Çolakoğlu.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, thank you. Hello, everybody. Can hear me and see me all well? All good. Great. So, thank you, Olga. It's a pleasure seeing you all, and thank you, Ariadna, Mario, for this wonderful invitation. As Ulya has mentioned, I'm delighted to be here as the co-programmer of the program Debris. I'm Fatma Çolakoğlu. I work as an associate director for research and programming at SALT, based in Istanbul. So, solidarity, class relations, technology, institutional politics, empathy. So these are just a few of the subjects I particularly find relevant and critical for today. The fields of neuroscience, emotions, and language also fascinate me, specifically how all of these key themes come into play through film, video, and television. The moving image in general proves to be captivating, giving way to creative outputs, producing stimulating, invigorating, and indelible works. The question we are gathered here to discuss, though, is quite a vast and deep one, and surely there are many answers, whether art, especially the moving image, can facilitate or enable a new breath of survival. So if so, what does this mean to us? Ulya has covered quite a lot of relevant and realistic factors that are playing into our current Istanbul scene and maybe on a larger scale within Turkey's context as well. But so I will just sidetrack a bit into that, just in another direction a little bit. So in regards to Olga's question, something that if we tackle this on, I want to suggest that you bear with me while I do a little bit of a brainstorm for this query in a more philosophical thread, let's say. So Richard Foreman, playwright and avant-garde theater pioneer, in his ontological historic manifesto 1 notes, quote, "Art, of course, tests the soul, tests the psyche. That is to say, purely, art is a matter of vibrations. Now, where do these vibrations vibrate? What fluid is it in which the resonating wave patterns are established? And Foreman answers, vibrations are in the head, of course. These vibrations, I believe, as much as they are in our head, they also crave to be expressed, shared, and appreciated. These past few months, since the end of March, have been excruciatingly and intimately self-reflecting as well as terrifying. I imagine these are familiar feelings also for you. As a new way of living unfolds, I discovered that I struggle to identify certain underlying realities and how notions such as connection and disconnection have been taking on new meanings. Many things, from the way we think to the way we socialize to the way we work, basically in all the ways that forms and confirms our existence, have changed drastically and continues to be in flux. Eric Kandel, a medical doctor who specializes in psychiatry, paraphrases the philosopher of art, Dennis Dutton, on the concept of art. And I believe this is a good way to maybe start our journey into understanding where we are and where we're going at. But Kendall quotes, a byproduct of evolution, but rather an evolutionary adaptation, an instinctual trait that art helps us survive because it is crucial to our well-being, end quote. The lockdowns we all experienced, I believe, proved that we needed more art more than ever. Yet a harsh reality also dawned. The economic and political aspects of modern-day living for survival became more palpable than ever. With different working habits, remotely working from home, online, the dynamics of the very basic notions between employer, employee have also shifted. We witnessed many jobs come under threat, even many losing their jobs during the lockdown, and in a demoralizing sense, the overwhelmingly systematic capitalism enabled a strange state of the lack of work, meaning certain jobs and skills came to fore while others dissipated between the terrifying looming fact of life and death, in a sense. Yet several sectors held on and are still holding on very tightly, perhaps to the point of suffocation, leaving little space to breathe, bombarding the remote user, customer, or with endless content begging for their constant attention. In our current context, I find the story of Pandora's box, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, an ancient but most relevant one, quite suiting to our state right now. As it's a timeless Greek myth and the one I like very much, I would like to share this story with you through Edith Hamilton's words. The story about Pandora is the source of all misfortune, was not her wicked nature, but only her curiosity. The gods presented her with a box into which had put something all harmful and forbade her even to open it. Then they sent her to Epimetheus, and who took her gladly.
Okay, we are having problems.
Oh, sound? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Fatma,
Yes.
we are having problems
With my sound?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, now it's fine.
I wonder.
Okay, now it's fine.
What did you hear last?
If you can start with you were talking about the story and
The Pandora's box, maybe just
Yeah.
take it from there.
yeah, please.
Sorry. Okay,
Please.
no problem. But you can hear me all good, right? So, perfect. Okay, so I was just to briefly retouch on the Pandora's box. So this Greek myth, and I actually want to converse it bestly in Edith Hamilton's words. So Pandora, though accepted as the source of all misfortune, was not her wicked nature, but due to her curiosity. The gods presented her with a box into which each had put something harmful and forbade her ever to open it. Then they sent her to Epimetheus, who took her gladly, although Prometheus had warned him never to accept anything from Zeus. He took her, and afterward, when the dangerous thing, a woman, was his, he understood how good his brother's advice had been. For Pandora, like all women, was possessed with a lively curiosity. She had to know what was in the box. One day she lifted the lid, and out flew plagues innumerable, sorrow and mischief for mankind. In terror, Pandora clapped the lid, but it was too late. One good thing, however, was there: hope. It was the only good the casket had held among the many evils, and it remains to this day mankind's sole comfort in misfortune. So end of story. This feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen, what we define as hope, is a complicated anticipation. Reflecting and drawing upon our desires in order to hope, we not only have to consider an outcome possible, but we have to effectively engage with this outcome in a distinctive way. Hope really ties in everything we do, we act upon, a striving force. Reminiscent of the physical laws of film almost, 24 frames per second, a rate fast enough to create fluid motion to the eye, we anticipate the next frame, the next image, and hope for continuity. Sully Rolnick, psychoanalyst, writer, art, and cultural critic, in her 1998 article, Anthropophagic Subjectivity, she eloquently describes a very much similar state that we find ourselves in. Quote, voices in all languages from all corners of the earth, voices of all the experts and also those who are not experts, are shuffled together in an infinite conversation, somewhere between afflicted and excited about the same question. Have we in fact become homeless? Did the subjective house dissolve, collapse, disappear? Where is identity? How can we construct an identity in this world where national, cultural, ethnic, religious, social, and sexual territories have lost their aura of truth, irreversibly denaturalized themselves, got mixed up in all possible ways, fluctuate or cease to exist? How can we rebuild a territory in the shifting world? How to get along with this disorientation? How to organize some meaning? How to conquer free zones of serenity? And this transnational chorus oscillates in variations on the theme, variations composed by effective positions that range from wonder to the apocalyptic. Hope or hopelessness, it's all the same. Poles of a moralistic position that naturalizes a value system and uses it to interpret, judge, and predict what is going on, a happy ending or the end of everything. However, another kind of voice is clearly dissonant from this teleological tone. Its timbre expresses neither judgment nor drama, but the vibration of the movements of the world, where it is intoned, transmitting the sensation that this world of today is neither better nor worse than others. Like any other, it is unique with its own problems, its own ways of affirming life, and also ruining it, with territories in the process of disappearing and others in the process of beginning, which require cartographies of meaning to make them intelligible, and to strengthen their gain of consistency. End quote. Thanks for bearing with me, but I feel like Rolnick's way of describing this is incredible, how it makes sense for the 21st century as well. And this was, a state of reflection from the late 90s. So following Rolnick's guidance, maybe it's better to focus on the process rather than the constant goal in attaining a state of happiness. Art indeed can provide potential solutions to critical problems in many ways. In one sense, the moving image works as a communicative medium, a device for creating effective metaphors, analogies, play on words and allegories, and such mechanisms come together and draw unusual elements producing innovative forms, dynamics, and visual phenomena. The moving image, since its birth, has proven to be so rich in visual texture and deals so much with the realm of the senses that the impact these images have on us is quite striking. We find ourselves engulfed in an encapsulating range of imaginative possibility. These visually alternative languages pave way for symbolic and representational meanings, provoking us to unmask and decipher the hidden layers of our societal collective existence. Different genres or genre-bending visual forms push our societal and political concepts, wonders and horrors come hand in hand. In this age of awe and brilliance where desperation and destruction loom heavily over us, we try to find correlations, perhaps as a therapy in one sense, and we need to keep on dissecting and analyzing the past in order to better understand our current state of being. And we also need to keep an eye out for what awaits in the nearby future. The language and tools of the moving image in this context open up at times a discursive treatment, but engaging nonetheless, allowing us to create provocatively and consume collectively. In light of the moving image's strength, we're thrilled that the video program, which Ulya has also talked about, Debris, is being presented in Madrid. The program, in essence, is a collection of abstract stories about urban transformation, the human impact of climate change, a rather visual journey into the duality of the human evolution. Deniz Tortum's floodplain touches on the many states of being. A mysterious tree watches over a forest while humans traverse its paths, the planning construction zones, and a search for a lost person. Poetically capturing a civilization slowly unravels through metaphoric imagery. New dynamics emerge. In Istanbul, every day, thousands of trucks carry debris created by demolitions to the periphery of the city and fill the old coal mines. Özden Demir's Net 17950 has Ali at its center, displaced. He witnesses the land's transformation and seeks to document its past. Kerem Ozan Bayraktar's, the last work in this program, previously Ulya mentioned two other artists, and so the final artist in this program, Kerem Ozan Bayraktar's Respiration, work delves into a relationship with tackles our relationship with global warming, and the video, based on encyclopedic definitions and concepts of historical relation, probes the effects of oxygen respiration on Earth. With the artist's own voice in the background, an unidentifiable topography evoking a post-apocalyptic landscape of the post-Great Oxidation event, a time period when the Earth's atmosphere and the shallow ocean experienced a rise in oxygen approximately 2.4 million years ago, we see the ice emerge. With images of death, accident, and unavoidable continuity of uncertainty, Bayraktar's work evokes a computer game feel, showing us how the role of our behavior is crucial as the role of oxygen. The common thread of these images is to explore ultimately the human thought and emotions, but crucially linking the body within the physical space and causality, capturing the ferocity as well as the serenity of the human mind. Despite the overwhelming presence in this age of surveillance capitalism, to use Shoshana Zuboff's coinage, surveillance capitalism, art in fact can act as the bridge between a deeply altered world and humanity, I believe to be so. It can deliver the means to a better understanding and control of our ecosystem, and it can provide the seeds to a thriving humanity in a machine-dominated world. But of course, only with hope and with empathy, it seems so. So thank you very much for bearing with my thoughts, and looking forward to your questions and notes.
Okay, so thank you very much. Maybe we can start by the questions of the listeners, if you think it's a good idea. And then if there is no questions, or if I don't know, and then I can speak about the notes I have taken. So if you want to ask something, turn on your microphones and just speak. Everyone is shy? Okay, so, well, I start by my questions. I have two very broad, maybe, questions, but I try to, like an arrow, to go through your, maybe, discourses. So the first one is that Shaghayegh and also Ulya, you started by talking very, very easily about independence in relationship with art and your different contexts, and also the global context. So I wondered, what do you mean by independence? And also if there are more than one meaning, or, well, just to play with this word. And let's start by this question, and then I have another one.
Go ahead, you can start.
I mean, I guess in independence, I mean, Shaya was talking about in terms of budget and in terms of sort of bearing with the censorship and not being independent from the structures around us. So that is, I think, very prominent in Turkey in art production. But I think it's also quite naive to think about that art can be independent anywhere. It's not. It's not the case. But it's just, I guess there are some levels, and sometimes I feel like those levels of control might be a little bit higher. But yeah, I guess that sort of becomes something that artists are already very familiar of how to deal with, and that sort of becomes part of the problem. And it's almost like a designer trying to deal with a certain space's problems, and it's sort of his job to play around the problematic parts of that space. I think artists in Turkey are also inherently they know how to deal with this problem of not being independent enough. So they just somehow use it as another maybe tool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally agree with you. Yes, I'm agree about it's always the levels of the control, and when we speak about independence, yes, it's a lot of meaning around this subject, and always somehow the artists are dependent kind to the producer. Okay, but for me, if I want to speak about it, I have to speak about the producer, the institutes or the persons that they support about the budget, the artists and the artworks. They are the main parts that we have to focus over them when we are speaking about being independent and independent artwork. And I told my first sentence that I'm agree about the levels of control. Anyways, somehow the artists are thinking about how they should deal with this. But for example, in my country, it's very strange that the producer, the main producers, they are. It's not any other way that they have to be a part of the main body of the system. Actually, somehow the system that they want to control, the cinema or the artwork or the audiovisual, actually they put this a circle of producers that they should be a part of the system. They use them as the main tools for control the artworks. And in another hand, it's not, I don't know you know it or not, I don't know how it's in Turkey, but here it's not very easy that in my country, it's not very easy like this, that just you have money, you can be a producer. No, you can be a producer and you need a permit for being a producer. And in this way, they control that, who is producer, who are in this circle that they can support art projects. So when we are speaking in my country about being independent, actually we are speaking about all this. Because of this, large amount of the artists, they don't have, they work with totally their own budget.
Okay. So Fatima, do you want to do something to?
Well, yes, I think I agree with what everybody is saying in regards to there's a complicated line of the word independence that comes along with production that actually needs a lot of support from other there's a financial support and there needs to be a lot of stuff comes into play. So just when we say independent, it's a complicated word, I think, and it's valid for a lot of the creative industries in general, not just per se maybe the art ecosystem necessarily, but also the film and then maybe more even advertising maybe. But so in Turkey, though, it's a little bit more the censorship and the level of hush-hushness and what is possible and what is not possible. It is a little bit more gray, per se, I think, depending on you might be able to produce your work of art, but if it is tackling certain delicate issues, it's very likely that problems will occur, which has happened in the past with certain festivals and launching, because for a film to be shown, you do have to have a license to show that film. So that's the one level of, that's the sort of commercial aspect of it. But independently, I mean, in the more artistic sense, when we're talking about different means of maybe production or actual distribution or showing, then that becomes grayer and maybe easier to get away with, let's say, compared to having your film and produce it. I mean, trying to show it in, cinemas all across the country. So we're quite similar overall, I think.
Okay. And now, if you let me do it, I wanted to go from this independence to interdependence, because Fatma, you were talking about vibrations and how to play with vibrations in relationship to art. And also, I think it has to do with something that Ulya has said. She said, what makes sense to talk about nowadays? So, and also, she stressed the importance of this, the distance between being connected. Now we are more connected and we are less social. So how can we, through art, how can we make something vibrate in order to solve this distance, maybe to keep being social instead of only being connected, maybe?
Ulya, do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, that's a very good question. But I don't know, I guess through interactions like this one, where we actually are sharing something and we're sort of brainstorming on a topic all together. This is not only being connected, but also being social. So I guess that interactivity is something key here. So not just watching something that is shown online or consuming like digital images all day, having that platform to talk about art and sort of share an experience, or maybe watch something together with people. I guess that could bridge this gap a little bit. Because it seems like, I mean, in the situation in Turkey, at least, it seems like we will be at home for a while. So I guess we need to find our ways of dealing with this situation.
Yeah, just to comment on the vibrations there, I guess that kind of ties in with, and I think the collective also plays a big role in here, that, as Ulya mentioned, sharing and whatever internally is happening, once it becomes sort of a shared experience, or is sharing experiences with other experiences and knowing what we're all going through, I think is one way to maybe get these vibrations, and maybe the way to hope for something in the future, rather than, because we're quite social animals, I suppose, and I think that's ever become more, maybe I hadn't perhaps maybe realized how really social I like to see myself in my my life existence and what that means, and how that sort of came to a whole different ordeal for the past few months, and kind of gave us a new way to look at things as well, I think. So I don't really have an exact answer to your question. Seems, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think it's a test. We're going to keep on trying and finding ways to sync with each other, I think.
Yeah, we have problems with oh, she has disappeared. Well, I think that the questions I'm asking, I think there are not answers to them, but they are to just to play with them, maybe. And I don't know if Shaghayegh, you have some ideas about this also?
No, I'm almost agree with the other speech that I heard, and just maybe me as well to comment on about vibration. That I mean, trying and sharing, and I'm totally agree with Fatima. We are in the way, to figure out better ways. And maybe just in the subject empathy and trying to understanding as a human, it become very remarkable for everybody, I think. And me as well, I don't have a very clear answer for your question, but I enjoy the other opinion.
Yeah. So maybe you have become less shy and you have some questions, the listeners, or maybe not.
It can be very great if they have a question, and we really like to hear them.
No, or maybe you, the speakers, want to ask something to each other, maybe.
Yes, actually, I have a lot of questions about your situation in Turkey. I mean, your artistic situation. But I will keep it little by little. You, if you have any question.
If not, if there is, this is so bizarre and you don't feel comfortable. I mean, we have a lot of spaces where we can talk, of course, but just to not to have this question in mind that you didn't have the time to. Just feel free, and if not, we can say goodbye, and we can meet in other spaces. Or not, or in another Zoom session. I mean,
honestly, I really enjoyed like this experience of sharing what we are all going through, and how in each of the contexts the art production and consummation is going on, and like also in relation to what we're experiencing as well. And I mean, I guess we are sharing a similar similar experience in terms of like similar problems, and we're all dealing with similar challenges in our work. So it was a good experience to hear from you as well, and share these thoughts.
For me too, exactly. It was a very good experience. And yes, I mean, actually in general, I'm super happy with all the package of video projector. I think you did it very well. Thank you very much. Good job. And I'll be looking forward for the comments of the viewers, what they think. I mean, everything. What they think, what's their expectation, what was their expectation, for example, especially about the collection from Iran, from Turkey, and now when they saw it, what they think about it, all these things.
Okay. So maybe Ariadna, you can join us also for the end. Okay. So if there are no questions, because we are just waiting, well, I would like to thank you again, and also keep these questions and also the not answers and the not questions in the air, because I think they are like engines in order to keep thinking about things. And also, I remind you of the session of this afternoon. Okay, again, political amplifier, and it's at 5 p.m. until 7, okay? And also that this has been a streaming experience, I remind you also. And you can also see this again, because we have recorded it. So if someone wants to go back or just to check something that has shared Ulya because you don't agree with it, you can go. And just that's it. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care. It was very nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.